Okay, I'm going to talk our way through evaluating these angles and how we find them, but I'm going to use the hand trick to find the actual value. So I'm just going to, it's going to seem like I'm just pulling the number out of nowhere, but I'm going to use the hand trick. So sine of 7 pi over 4, that actually is going to be in the fourth quadrant. And I'm going to do this over here for one reference. All students take calc. So I know this needs to be negative since it's in the fourth quadrant, and sine is negative there. And the reference angle is going to be pi over 4. And if I look at what the sine of pi over 4 is, it's going to be the square root of 2 over 2. So the sine of 7 pi over 4 is negative square roots of 2 over 2. Cosine of a negative 4 pi over 3. So we're going to go in the negative direction. 3 over 3 would be 1/2 of the circle. So 4 pi over 3 would put us in the second quadrant. Cosine is negative in the second quadrant, so I know I'm going to be negative. I have a reference angle of pi over 3. And the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. So the answer is going to be negative 1 over 2. Okay, so cosecant is the reciprocal function of sine. So we're actually going to find the sine of pi over 6 and then just flip it. So pi over 6 is going to be in the second quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant, so that's nice. The reference angle is pi over 6. So I'm going to have the sine of pi over 6, which is going to be 1/2. But since I'm going to find this cosecant of it, I'm going to have basically 2 over 1 then. So you can just write 2. But I just showed that everything there. All right, so secant is the reciprocal angle of cosine. We have a negative pi over 4, so we're going to go in the, whoops. Let's undo that last one. Okay, we're going to go in the negative direction into the second quadrant. Cosine is negative in the second quadrant, so we'll secant then. So I'm going to have a negative. And the cosine of negative pi over 4 has a reference angle of pi over 4, which is going to be the square root of 2 over 2. So secant would then be flipped. And if I want to rationalize that so I don't have the square root in the denominator, I'm going to end up with 2 square roots of 2 over 2, which the 2's will then cross off. So I basically just have negative square root of 2. All right, tangent, 2 pi over 3 puts us in the second quadrant. Tangent is negative in the second quadrant. And I have a reference angle of pi over 3. Tangent is sine over cosine. So I'm going to have square root of 3 over 2 over 1 over 2, which is going to end up being the 2's. If I multiply by 2 over 2, the 2's will cross off. So I really just have the square root of 3. And then the last one is cotangent of 11 pi over 6. So that's going to end me in the fourth quadrant. Now cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So I need to find the tangent, and I'm going to flip it then. I have a reference angle of pi over 6. So basically, since I know that cotangent is actually cosine over sine, I can just then go and find cosine over sine instead of sine over cosine. So cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2, and sine is going to be 1 over 2. And it's actually the same as the last problem where we would get square root of 3. tangent is negative in the fourth quadrant, so I'm going to have a negative square root of 3.